surprise my sister, I'm just gonna kind of hope that my dad has enough love in his heart that he won't be able to take the cat away after seeing my little sister's reaction. Close your eyes, close your eyes. Callie, look what I got for you today.
Where?
From work.
It's yours.
Keep it? Mm-hmm.
It's your cat.
I said yes.
I thought he was allergic to
He said yes. We're gonna take it to the property.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Wait, can I hold it?
Yeah.
Let Callie hold it for a little bit.
Are you happy?
I'm happy too.
Are you crying? Are you so happy? Oh.
This looks like my dog Zion.
What are you gonna name it?
Where are we gonna put it?
I have a box downstairs for it with food and a towel.
Can I hold it, Callie?
I've never cared for cats. I've never lived in a place where there was a genuine need for cats, and it's quite obvious that I'm a dog person. But let me give you the story behind the story. On this particular day, I came home from work in the same fashion I always do. I went through the garage door, took my boots off, walked through the side door, looked for my beautiful wife to give her a hug and a kiss like I always do, and I quickly recognized that Cedar had an awkward look on her face. I asked her what was wrong. She said to me, "Sage has something to tell you." For whatever reason, my broken brain went straight to the idea that Sage had just gotten engaged. My oldest daughter, Sage, has been dating a nice young man for quite some time, and I'm not sure why my brain went there, but that's where it went. I was perturbed that the kid hadn't come and talked to me first, and I started walking down the stairs towards Sage's room. Sage met me in the middle, and I noticed that she had a little baby kitty in her hand. Sage held the little kitty up and looked up at me and said, "Dad, I brought a baby kitty home for Callie. Can we have a cat?" So in my mind, I'm thinking the options are Sage got engaged, she's going to get married and leave home, or we now have a cat. Of course, I said, hell yes, we can have a cat. My blood pressure rapidly went down, and I realized that I jumped the gun, maybe just a little bit. I knew Callie's reaction to this little kitty was going to be life-changing for her. She has wanted a cat for so long. She has asked me time and time again, "Dad, when we move in up at the ranch, can I get a cat?" I've told her yes. But I also realized this little baby kitty was taken off of its mom too soon. We don't know the details, but for whatever reason, it was taken off the mom at about 2 weeks. So we now get to bottle feed this little kitty multiple times a day, and I've been recruited to help. And as a father, I've got to do the best that I possibly can to ensure that any tears that Callie cries over this little kitty are tears of joy. So the moral of the story is, when you're a father of daughters, don't overreact unless you have all the facts. It was a bit of a reality check for me, and frankly, it's quite funny every time I think back to it. Now that I've got that out of the way, and now that we've got a good riding lawnmower, I've had Rhett up here helping me clean up the hillside, doing things while I'm working inside. He enjoys using that mower, and he's gotten a lot of the weeds taken care of. He's in summer school right now because one of the grades in one of his classes from last semester was a little bit too low, and we wanted him to get a taste of what happens when his grades are not quite acceptable. I had to do the exact same thing when I was exactly his same age. The only difference was it was my dad who was teaching the class. The house is ready for the drywall to be finished downstairs. I needed to get a little bit more insulation packed in, and I was almost out of drywall, but I wanted to get it off the floor and get as much hung as I possibly could. It doesn't take long to get it hung. It doesn't take long to get it taped. What takes the most time is the texture. I'm going to do my best to try and talk this drywall contractor into showing up and helping me finish off the texture by letting him know that all the hanging and the taping is done, and all that he has to do is put the smooth coat on it. I'm hoping I can talk him into it. The road's not too bad right now, and he can get his truck right up to the front of the house, so I'm hoping I can convince him to get up here. I've got most of the parts set aside for my truck. I want to get the lift wheels and tires done to my truck, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. And as soon as the house is finished, I'm going to take the truck and my trailer and go up into the mountains and fall as much standing dead timber as I can for a bunch of different projects around the house. So I want to get the truck finished. Can't believe I'm doing this.
Dusty is a new one of the family.
The transition from bare studs and insulation to drywall is motivation for me. Just that transition has caused the front room to brighten up quite a bit. It's caused the stairwell to brighten up quite a bit, and it's changed our whole perspective on the house. Now we're chomping at the bit to get it done, but we want to get it done right. I don't want to do something that I'm going to regret and wish that I'd fixed properly before we have all our furniture and all our belongings moved in. I've taken my electric planer and gone along and tried to hit all the high spots that I can find to make sure that the drywall sits as flat as it can possibly sit. This is something that most people probably wouldn't see, but I most definitely will see, especially if I know that there's a stud protruding behind the drywall. I'm going to get the rest of the ceiling finished by the end of the week, and I'm going to do my best to get the walls hung as well. All right, I'm as done as I can get with the drywall for today. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to jump in the truck and run down to Salt Lake City and pick up the 4.5-inch lift kit for my truck. I promised Cedar I wouldn't work on it during the daytime, but I need to get all my parts together. And in the evening, I think me and Cheyenne's been asking if she can help me with it. Get the lift on it, the wheels and tires on it. I want to get it set up to where I don't have to worry about it in case the road gets bad again. I'm going to basically do the same setup as my other truck, minus the bed. I'm going to leave the stock bed on this truck, but a lift, wheels, tires, and a winch and winch bumpers, and that's probably about it. So I'm going to run down there and pick that up and try and get back up here as fast as I can and try and get the ceiling finished. And I'm still going to try and talk that contractor into coming and at least texturing the place. If I got to pay him more money, I'm gonna try and get him up here. I feel like it's one of my last hopes as far as expediting the finish date. We're up against it. We want to get moved in up here, and we're willing to take some pretty drastic steps to do that. So if I can find somebody that'll come and help me finish the texture, I think I'm going to do that. But anyway, it's exciting. It looks really cool to have the ceiling partially finished like that. It just, again, each one of these steps kind of makes it feel more like a home. So anyway, another 34 sheets probably. Tough country lift, get back up here and get back to work.